Hey guys, today's video is not one that I thought that I would be filming because I got a package from Colurpop yesterday. And they sent me a PR package here with the Pretty Please collection, which is a very new collection. And this is the first time I've ever gotten PR from Colurpop that was actually a new release. So I'm so excited to be testing this out because, like I've said before, the only reason I don't really review a lot of Colurpop is because by the time I make my order with the new collections, it takes forever for the package to come, and they've already come out with like 3 more collections. But having this in PR, and I think this released like 2 days ago when I'm filming this, I'm excited to be like kind of reviewing a new release from Colurpop, so we're just gonna dig in. So like I said, this is a Pretty Please collection. There are a couple of things in this PR package that I'm going to put into my running giveaway. I will leave the link to enter in my description box if you're interested. I'm having a giveaway where I'm gonna draw 3 winners at the end of the month and then ship it out probably at the beginning of January, but there's going to be some Colurpop in there, and I plan on putting some of these products in there as well. So if you want to enter, like I said, link will be down below in my description box. So the things in here that I'm probably not going to be using are the cream blushes. So they have come out with 3 new colors in the cream blush or like serum blush formula. I am just not a cream blush person, so I know for myself that it would be kind of a waste if I open these and I swatch them just for the sake of the video, and then trying them I'd probably be like, I don't really like them, because I just don't really use cream products on my face. I have very oily skin, and it just seems like an extra step for me to be using those. It's just not for me. Like, I know other people with oily skin like cream blushes, like cream products. I just don't. So those are going to go in the giveaway. There are also 4 kind of eyeshadow sticks in there as well, which is also just not something that I really use. So let me know for like the future. Do you want me to swatch these products? Because I feel like for myself, knowing that I'm probably not going to use them in the future, it just seems a little wasteful when I can instead just give them away brand new. Like, that just seems like a better idea. But if you think that it would be helpful to include that in my content, let me know and I can do that, because I mean, I know people I can give these things to. They don't need to be completely new for me to give away things to people I already know, but I wouldn't feel comfortable giving away open products to, you guys. Like, I just personally, for myself, I would not be comfortable doing that. So those are the products in here that I'm not going to be using. But it also has 3 lip products in here, and these are the Fresh Kiss lipsticks. I thought we could go ahead and just swatch these on my lips because there's only 3 colors and I want to see what they look like. And they all look quite similar, like in the packaging here. And can I just say the packaging on all of these items are really cute. So we're going to start with this shade. This one is the shade called I Heart That. I think I've had one of these Fresh Kiss lipsticks from Colurpop in the past, and I just didn't like the color that I picked out. So we're going to see if I end up liking these. Doesn't have much of a smell at all. So this feels very much like the lip glaze from Kaleidos, if you're familiar with that formula. Very moussey, very soft, very kind of velvety, and very comfortable on the lips. That is a beautiful color. I really like that, and that was without a lip liner. So these are, I would say, pretty opaque. I would not need a lip liner with this, and it looks really good. So let's try on the next color, which is the shade called Fleur Love. So I really like this color as well. That is a beautiful kind of mauve-y shade. I really like mauve lip colors, but I don't really like mauve eyeshadows, which is kind of funny, but I think this is beautiful. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on the last one as well. I might try this with a lip liner because I do want to wear one of these for the rest of the day, so I'm probably gonna choose this one. This is the shade called Off to Paris. Really find a lip liner that would go with this, so I just used it on its own. I do feel like it could benefit from a bit of a darker lip liner because this is quite light, actually lighter than I expected, but I don't think it looks bad on its own. I think it's totally fine. I would say I have a light skin tone, so if you're any darker, maybe you would need a lip liner, but I think this looks nice. So the last thing in here is the Pretty Please palette. Now, this is obviously not really like my perfect color story. I think it's a bit too kind of toned down and muted, but I get it. It's called a Pretty Please palette and it's supposed to just be something that makes you look and feel really pretty. So I totally get that. And I'm excited to try this. This also has 3 Super Shock shadows on the left here, which I don't think that I've tried the Super Shock shadows from Colourpop in their palettes before. I've tried the singles, but I don't think I've tried them in palettes. So I'm excited to see what this is kind of all about. This palette is laid out in a bit of a, like, depending on the formulas on the palettes, and I will say it didn't swatch the absolute best, but I think it's kind of cool the way that they set this up. So you have the Super Shocks here, you have kind of the mattes with sparkles in them, which the sparkles never really show up on the eye, so it doesn't bother me too much. Then we have metallics and mattes. So there's only 3 like basic mattes, and then you also have these ones. So we're gonna see what I can do with this. I'm gonna have to probably spice it up with something just to make it a little bit more me and a little bit more exciting, but I thought that because there are these Super Shock shadows in here, maybe I can try to use this one as my face highlighter today, because I do like the Super Shock formula when it comes to highlighters. So I'm gonna try to kind of dig in and get a little bit onto my brush here and just, ooh, okay. Oh, that's really pretty. I totally went overboard with that, but yeah, that is really pretty. Very nice and sort of wet looking. I'm gonna try to not go as heavy on this side, which I probably should because I need to make sure they're both even. But this is really pretty, and this brush is actually really good for this formula. This is a new brush from Lethal. It's their highlighting fan brush. It's actually really nice, and I like how small it is. That makes for such a beautiful highlighter. I really like that. Like, that is intense. This is gonna make for a beautiful brow bone highlight as well, and an inner corner. So I'm excited. I'm gonna go ahead and prime my eyes with my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base. We'll see what I can do with this palette to kind of fun it up a little bit, because like I said, it's a little too just kind of muted and wearable for what I normally go for, but that's okay. I don't really mind neutral palettes anymore, because I feel like it's a good way to be able to use like some of the fun stuff that I have in my collection as add-ons that I don't always get to use. So I think that's what we're gonna go ahead and do. I think I'm mostly going to stick to only these mattes in my crease, because I feel like those will be light enough for me. I don't really tend to use like kind of light transition shades, and I don't like these sort of cool tone colors on myself that much, so I'm gonna start with this shade. Actually, maybe I'll just do the neutrals in my crease. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start with this one. I'll do this one underneath my eye so we can try out all 3 of these, but I'm gonna start with this one, which is the one called Vintage Queen. And I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm just going to use this as my transition shade. We're just going to see how these shadows perform. Like I said, I'm excited to try out some of these Super Shocks on my eyes, because I don't really know what to expect. I don't know if these will crease on me, since I have quite hooded eyes. And they are very creamy, so I'm intrigued, and I just want to see. I'm excited to kind of dip into Colourpop a little bit more, because it is a very affordable brand, and it is a brand that comes out with a lot of beautiful things that I'm excited to review. And I did also end up picking up their new palette, the large one. I forget the name of it, but I bought that when it launched, and I think it shipped yesterday. So I will just accept the fact that sometimes I will be late with my Colourpop reviews if I do end up doing them. But I just want to make sure that I review, you know, a wider variety of like price ranges on my channel, because I feel like most of the things I review are from indie brands, and indie brands have gotten quite expensive lately. So I just want to make sure that I can, you know, maybe do a little bit more affordable brands as well, like Colourpop, because that's easier for people to get a hold of, and they also tend to sell them at Ulta and stuff like that. So I think it'll just be good for my channel to branch out a little bit. But this is a really pretty, cool toned brown that almost leans gray. I was honestly expecting this to look a little bit more like brown, but it's pulling kind of grayish, and I'm not mad about it. Like, I think that's honestly kind of cool. And I don't know if I have a shade like this in my collection. It's also laying down beautifully and blending out so well. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do my under eye shade before I deepen this up with the black, because that way it's gonna be a little bit easier just to get the outer corners to sort of mix together. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to a smaller brush here. I'm just going to use this one. This is also from Lethal. This is the pencil brush. It's a 220. So I'm going to go into the shade here called 444. I don't know what that refers to. And I'm just going to go ahead and basically put that underneath my eye all the way across. Let's see how deep I'm able to get this. I'm going to take the shade here called Sweet Thing, which is, it's not really a black. It's definitely more of a gray black, but it almost looks black in the pan. So we're going to see how much depth I'm able to get with this shade. I'm just going to try to build this up as much as I'm able to on the outer corner of my eye. And I would say this is a very approachable kind of black gray. It's not super pigmented straight off the bat, but it does seem to build very nicely. I actually think this looks really, really nice. I am super impressed with this color. That performed so nicely. It honestly looks pretty perfect. And I feel like it's almost, I wouldn't say more colorful than what I was expecting, but I do feel like it's not as kind of toned down as what I thought this palette would be. Like, it definitely has some very unique undertones to the colors that I quite enjoy. So let's see, what do I want to do for my lid here? I think I'm going to start with this shade. I am going to put on some of my NYX glitter primer though, just to make sure I give these colors the best chance at looking their best. So I'm going into the shade called Oh So Dainty, which this definitely looks more like a satin shade than it does a metallic. And I do feel like that is the case on the eyes as well. But I think once I go in with one of the Super Shocks and layer over the top of this, we're going to be able to get this to look a little bit more shiny and intense. And those are probably really good for like layering. I think this would probably be a very good everyday palette for someone who likes more cool tone shadows, because they're performing very nicely. And I feel like it's not fair of me to like compare Colurpop to say some indie brands that I love, just because the price point is so different that I have to review it for what it is. And I feel like so far the quality of all of these shadows, even if they're not my preferred kind of formulas, have been really, really good and very impressive. So I think I'm just gonna go straight in with this shade on my eye. Or do I actually, maybe I'll use some of this and then layer this one over the top. I'm gonna start with this one. I just wanna try one more shade. This one is called Love Letters. And because this is a Super Shock formula, you have to sort of dig in a little bit extra with your brush just to make sure you get on enough product. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that on. Okay, so that looks so much better. That is beautiful. Really, really nice. Very smooth, very sparkly. I do just wonder if this will crease on me throughout the day, just because, like I said, I do have very hooded eyes and sometimes creamy shadows will do that. But I do think that these dry down from what I remember. It's been so long since I've used a Super Shock that I honestly can't tell you how I felt about them. But I do think this is very pretty. And if you really wanted an easier application with this, I would say use your finger, but I'm just not a finger person when it comes to applying eyeshadows. So for me, that's just kind of out of the question. And I also tend to have long nails most of the time, and that's just not a good combination for when you're trying to be somewhat precise with your application. But I think this is really pretty. I do want to use some of the shade that I used on my face as well. So I'm going to take this one on a small pencil brush from Rephr. This is the 03. And I'm just going to put that in the inner corner of my eye, as well as a little bit on my lower lash line. So I like how this is looking. For myself, it's a little bland, like I said, so I am going to spice it up a little bit. I'm just going to start by putting some nude in my waterline. This is just Honeydew from Colurpop. I don't know if this one is available anymore. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do some dots because I feel like it's been a little while. I'm gonna use these two from JD Glow. These are their neon liquid liners. And I'm just gonna shake these up. I'm gonna start with this one, which is the pastel purple. And you could definitely use like water activated liners for this as well. I'm gonna go ahead and just sort of do some dots here in a bit of a winged out shape. This does not have to be perfect at all. And I know you can barely see these, but just wait until I get on the neon pink, which I'm gonna do next. And I'm also gonna do some liquid liner and some lashes. And I think this is gonna end up looking really cool. And this is like so easy. If you just wanna spice up a look a little bit, it takes no time at all. Like, see how kind of cool and fun that is? And you don't have to be precise, as long as you just keep dotting until it kind of looks like it makes sense. So I think I'm gonna leave it at this. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up with my look. Do I wanna do anything else? I'm so tempted to do like a little dot of pink just in my inner corner. So let's go ahead and do that. It's not gonna be a big dot, just like right here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and do some lashes, and that's gonna be the end of the look, I think. Okay, so this is the look with the lashes on, and I use the Divine Lights from House of Lashes, which are my favorites. Let's talk about this collection though, because I think that honestly, this is really, really nice. If you like this color story, if you like Colurpop, if you haven't tried Colurpop, this might be a good place to start. I think this is a very beginner-friendly palette and a color story that a lot of people are going to love. Now, is it my favorite color story? Absolutely not, but that doesn't mean that I wasn't able to get a very pretty look out of it that I'm happy to wear the rest of the day. It's not gonna be the kind of color story that I reach for a lot, but I really think the formulas in here are very, very nice. Now, do I wish that maybe the shimmers could have been a little bit more sparkly? Sure, but I mean, whatever, it is what it is. I mean, this is a very affordable brand. It's Colurpop, you can find it anywhere. If you don't want to spend an arm and a leg on sparkly eyeshadows, then I think this is a really, really, really nice release and a nice palette. The lip products are really nice. I've been enjoying wearing this for the duration of filming. Obviously, I can't tell you much more than that. This is just a first impression, but I think it's very, very comfortable. It looks really nice on the lips. It does have that kind of velvety blurring feel to it. So if you've tried similar formulas in the past, you know what I'm talking about. And I feel like it's gonna wear reasonably well. I can't see this being like the most long-lasting lipstick that I have in my collection, but honestly, I don't really like that anymore anyway. So I think this is really pretty, and I'm excited to be testing out the other two colors and wearing those a bit more as well. So those are going to be my thoughts. Again, let me know if you want me to start swatching everything that I get from Colurpop, if that is helpful enough for you that I can open the products and swatch them even if I don't end up using them or liking them. So that's gonna be it. Thank you so much for watching. I would say if you want to see some more Colurpop content, I don't really have that much Colurpop yet, but I will make a Colurpop playlist and I'll put the things that I have in my playlist right here. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.